Today, Joel SSENYONYI took the issue of BOBI WINE's home that is under siege by security operatives on the floor of Parliament. He came out to say that very many people are coming out to say that BOBI WINE is not needed, yet his home is under siege. In fact, Joel SSENYONYI said these statements.
Minister for Information has said that the home of the Honorable Kyagulanyi is suspected to be used as a public disorder hub. Those are the words that he used. And therefore there is access control. I think you should not operate in the dark. If you think that my home has got an issue with public order, accessibility, why do you not bring me on board so that I know what can I do, what can I not do? Because now you know, but the family doesn't know. So when they come, they are banging doors, the wife refuses to open. She's thinking, are these coming in good faith or not? Eventually they break and beat her up. But when you inform the family that now these are the standard operating procedures, no one is supposed to visit you, no one is supposed to bring food for you, then we know, and we also get to see what can we challenge. But now you know. The family does not know. Yesterday his siblings went to see him, to see the family. They were denied access.
That is Joel SSENYONYI. He was amplifying that issue because the Minister of Information, BARYOMUNSI, came out to say that BOBI WINE's home is not under siege. Even the Prime Minister, even other government propagandists. In fact, even on the floor of Parliament, the Speaker of the Minister of Information, BARYOMUNSI, castigated the same statements. He said this.
The Honorable Kyagulanyi and the state is not looking for him. He's a free man. And that's the point I made. He chose on his own volition to go into hiding. The state is not interested in him. Otherwise, the state would pick him from wherever he is, because we know. We have technology to trace people. But because we are not interested in him, that's why I said he's free to be in his home. At the moment, he's not at the home, but he's free anytime and members of his family.
That is BARYOMUNSI. So as Ugandans, you clearly see through the lies. What government says is not what they are doing. On the other hand, they are coming out to say that they're not looking for BOBI WINE, yet even his home is under siege. In fact, even when the Intelligence Council visited his home, they painted a picture as if the home was not under siege until videos were shown on camera when they were moving barriers. So the purpose of this video, I've come to talk about how the government is playing ping pong with BOBI WINE security, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the study materials you can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sura Mawagale. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, after elections, it has always been a norm for the biggest contender's home to be under siege, even during Besigye's era. I don't know what was the problem. In fact, there is a time Besigye stayed under house arrest for months, like 4, and spent almost the whole year when he's being trailed by security operatives and even goons like Sobi. In a democracy, such things are not supposed to happen. Even after Genome 7 being declared at 71%, such things are not supposed to be done. In fact, I thank Joel SSENYONYI for putting up this plight on the floor of Parliament. In fact, let me first play the whole video. Here's it.
So can we know, Honorable Minister, it's not enough for you to say we have put in place access controls. To what effect? Because when I know, then tomorrow if I flout what you have laid down, if it is legal, I can be held liable. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, again, this talk of there are people inciting violence and that's why the state is operating that way. Incitement of violence is an offense in this country. Why don't you charge them? If you think the Honorable Kyagulanyi has incited violence, issue him with summons. That's what I've been saying. But for you to say he's inciting violence, that's why we shall raid his home, break things, beat up his wife, you're operating outside the law. Issue him with summons. And very finally, Right Honorable Speaker, you see, abductions, and why we call these abductions, the Minister for Internal Affairs who was saying that, yes, I went through, even though I'm saying the process was unfair. You see, we blame Idi Amin's regime of having killed people, and yes, they did. But Idi Amin did not kill everybody who was present in the country at the time. But let me get back to my point. The reason we are calling these abductions is because how can 7 days later, 2 weeks later, families don't know where they are? Honorable Minister, you have said that you are aware that for some of these, they are being processed for court. Tell me, you quote for me a law which says you can hold somebody for 7 days, for 2 weeks. The family doesn't know. The lawyers don't know, but you're saying you're processing them for court. How is that legal? How? You help me understand. Because if you're processing them for court, the family has got to be able to access them. Lawyers should be able to access them. If they're writing statements, they have a right to have legal counsel with them. But you're saying 10 days later, you're processing them for court. We don't know the state in which they are. Family cannot access them. You, with due respect, the Honorable Minister should be ashamed of telling us these things that are outside the law. You should be apologizing the same way you're saying government, if it apologized to you and you forgive them.
That is SSENYONyi. So SSENYONyi coming out to put out the plight. Yet the Minister of Security, David Mohozi, and other ministers like Chris BARYOMUNSI are not coming out, okay, to say that it is true. Yet the home is under siege. A home where he even doesn't stay. Maybe they want to cause fear in him so that he can maybe come back. But this BOBI WINE has told them off that issue. He will resurface anytime he wants. Okay? So government propagandists are propagating something wrong. They are playing with human rights. They are playing with our constitution. Countries that have failed, they have had similar symptoms. Countries that have failed, they have ever been in the same scenario like we are right now. And those in power were deaf and blind from seeing these issues, which is unfortunate. So for me, I think such things should not happen. In fact, for those who think I'm lying, let me first play with the tape of the Minister of Information speaking. He even scared SSENYONyi. He said these statements.
There is a light deployment at his home, not to harass anybody, but for Ugandans not to use the home as a public disorder hub for purposes of security, their security interests. And therefore there is some access control. Because again, also when the head of the home is not there, you wouldn't want the whole crowd of Ugandans to just swim there. So there's some control, but harmless. So, leader of opposition, your leader is not wanted by the state, and advise him to be at home, provided he doesn't engage in law breaking. There is no problem with that. Secondly, it is not true that I have ever been abducted by this government. In 2012, we had an issue in this house where a colleague died in circumstances which were not clear. I was tasked by the house as a commissioner.
That is Chris BARYOMUNSI. So all viewers of this video, just know that we are under an authoritarian. Constitutionalism, we are all equal before the law. You cannot give me security when I don't want it. How come it's only BOBI WINE who has such security? Not security with a good motive. Security to torture and make him uncomfortable. Security that enters your house, breaks the doors, windows, cuts the chairs. That's no longer security, it is intimidation. Okay? I don't think that the same people who went to the bush would be patient against the issues they are mounting on these people. Why do you think that they think Ugandans can be patient? For us who speak against these injustices, want a level playing field, want equity and equality in the constitution, which is not being gotten, and it is so unfortunate. Okay? The manners they are doing right now will have a ripple effect on how the country will be. And since Gen 7 is in his 80s, soon transition is going to happen. all signs show that we will have a violent transition, which I may not want to happen in our country, because Uganda is the only country we have. Those who are cheering on the bad leadership don't know what it means. Of course, it's my opinion. My name is truly Mr. Makinde, Kabir Sulaiman Mawagali. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.